him.
What do you think is going to happen in that case?
So bad. I hope Justin Gaethje not gonna drink, party, gonna train, dedicate himself before he's gonna overstrike him on the fight to wrestle him, and he's gonna, if you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you. I mean, I want him to win.
The upcoming clash featuring Justin Gaethje at UFC 324 has ignited fierce debate. The MMA sphere, spanning fighters, pundits, fans, is discussing what seems to be one of the year's most intriguing bouts. Ilya or Paddy? I mean, what is going on? It's Justin or Paddy now. Must beat Justin. He is a tough fight. Many people are overlooking Justin. Regarding the Paddy fight, which just makes me look ridiculous, the match is mainly due to current king, Ilya Topuria, stepping down from competing for highly private reasons. In late November, Topuria noted on social media he'd not fight in the year's first quarter, citing the emotional weight of divorce proceedings and his need to focus on his kids during this tough phase. His absence created a void at the lightweight division peak,
A lot of people sleeping on Justin.
a slot the UFC chose to occupy with an interim title clash, placing a battle-tested vet against a rising prospect, whose fast rise has both fascinated and sparked surprise evenly. Rather than focusing purely on technical skills or bodily attributes, Ferguson zeroed in on a factor less concrete, but perhaps vital. He remarked that Gaethje bears the burden of prior failures, having failed in 2 previous title shots. Those losses linger in ways that are not easily ignored, and starting another title fight, even an interim one.
Easy. Wow, really easy.
Yeah, easy.
That's a crazy thing to say because
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to grapple, and Paddy knows.
but he's a Division 1 wrestler. He knows how to grapple. You don't think he knows how to grapple? He just chooses not to.
Did you ever saw him submitting someone?
I don't believe he's ever submitted someone, but I think that's because he likes to just crush people.
Everyone likes is to dominate people and to win as soon as possible. If you have the ability to submit someone as soon as
I think Justin Gaethje's mindset is to be reasons why he lost some fight because he took
Might
unnecessary.
stir memories of past grief. The psychic stress of nearly hitting the summit only to fail can be exhausting, and Ferguson wondered if that past could create a small but meaningful disadvantage. In contrast, Pimblett approaches this event with the carefree zeal of a person facing something totally fresh. It is not bad, man. Din Thomas observed the match through a more tactical framework, carefully assessing how distinct styles match up and where possible gaps exist. Per his assessment, Pimblett has found what really may be his most feasible path toward gaining championship fame. The lightweight division remains wildly competitive, filled with dangerous fighters who pose massive matchup tests and issues.
Not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again. Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness in my.
Thomas specifically named rising threats like Arman Tsarukyan, foes whose full skill sets and physical traits would likely control Pimblett in a head-to-head clash. Against those elite enemies, Pimblett would really struggle to apply his tactical plan and could find himself outclassed repeatedly. Gaethje, although he remains a potent opponent, represents a different test. Alex Volkanovski, talking from his history as a champ who has seen many fighters win and fail under pressure, brought a unique angle to the debate. He admitted that Gaethje had regained some of his original fighting fire and still held ruining power in his fists. He noted, "It is a hard question, yet I simply can't bet against Paddy anymore. This guy keeps winning." Before, when he fought Michael Chandler, his display was great, and although Gaethje has become more dangerous again,
and Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division 1 wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants.
Paddy proved in that fight his ability to stick to a plan. This will be key in the match versus Justin, so I am sure Paddy will do all needed to reach the goal. Urijah Faber reviewed the duo with the poise of one who has spent decades grasping how various fighting modes mix. His view favored Justin Gaethje, and the logic centered on who seems most calm when fights turn into pure chaos. Both fighters eagerly join in wild exchanges, and neither lacks guts or competitive spirit. However, Faber spotted something special regarding Gaethje's link to mayhem. Alvarez, having handed Gaethje his first UFC defeat.
What's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that fight with Justin?
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
the fans don't ever ask for a rematch. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man. One of my favorite guys to watch. So but he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket and he's going to hit. If you don't meet him, the way to beat a guy who does that, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave and you got to go. You have to. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not and throw when he throws in between his shots, really long night. It's gonna be a hard night for you.
And knowing his mode more deeply than most, led the talk down a totally different road. To Alvarez, the outcome would rely less on raw skill and more on how wisely Pimblett prepared for the unique hurdles ahead. Gaethje owns a savagery hard to copy well during training. Alvarez saw this firsthand and remembers the constant hits, the endless pressure, and the feeling of having no time to heal. If Pimblett spars with usual partners unable to mirror such chaos and fury, he would be placing himself at a deficit. The first second he met Gaethje's true force would be in the cage during the fight, and at that stage, adapting would be futile. Alvarez never questioned Pimblett's bravery or will, but he knew that adapting to a new style instantly against a threat as strong as Justin Gaethje means disaster. On that night, what is the main thing that comes to mind when you think about fighting with Justin?
They're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Armin.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really that's the definition of, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. It's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And the question, what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? It's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, to have staying power and lasting, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Sarukian or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make whatever media and this silly kind of stuff. They just want to be a world champion because they want. That's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertainers.
Is that I am happy it is done, and I never wish to do it again. Oliveira gave insight born from his own past, having fought Gaethje in one of the most notable lightweight title fights recently. He understood more sharply than most how truly heavy and dangerous Gaethje can be in striking wars, as he once faced him head-on, before finally getting a submission win. Pimblett's striking on his feet is solid. He can take the fight to the floor and is always moving. My sense is Pimblett will not want to trade blows with him. He will likely try to take the action to the ground. If he chooses to swap hits, he risks the threat of being knocked out cold. But if he bases his plan on a takedown, he has a fine chance to become champ. Even so, I truly hope Gaethje comes out as the winner. Matt Brown entered the discussion, voicing broader annoyance concerning what this specific fight means within the UFC's current climate. To Brown, Pimblett's fast rise to an interim title fight looked less like a reward earned by defeating top rivals, and more like a promo tactic fueled by fame and market worth. He cited Arman Tsarukyan as a fighter who had done everything right, beating elite foes and planting himself among the division's best. Tsarukyan stayed on the sidelines watching, while an athlete with fewer key wins was gifted the title shot. Brown's comments suggested a jaded view regarding the sport's growth, hinting that social media fame and building hype now count as much as athletic feats. That are performers, he has himself made his goals unmistakably clear, seizing both the chance and the tale around it. He admits many fans and viewers would prefer to see Topuria for the undisputed title, seeing that as a more gripping story given their rising statuses and differing personas. This potential fight has drawn parallels with the long-hoped, yet finally unrealized match involving Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov, a war that grabbed minds but never happened. Gaethje seems almost energized by the idea of ruining those plans and serving as a spoiler to the preferred plot. He has openly stated his aim to win and stop the Pimblett hype, delivering a show on January 24th that forces all to change their forecasts and accept him as the rightful next challenger. Pimblett faces the fight with the belief of a person who long expected reaching this level. He has claimed that fighting for the belt was inevitable regardless of the path, making the shot to meet a respected vet such as Justin Gaethje for interim gold a proper recognition of his efforts down the line. Pimblett predicts not just beating Gaethje, but later defeating Topuria for the undisputed belt, keeping that title, and eventually moving up to welterweight to grab a strap in a second class. Such are high hopes that prove total self-assurance, though critics might find them premature. Given his current, he won't receive another title chance, will he? So regarding the build-up to the fight, Pimblett predicts a polite vibe, void of the fake hatred often marking big UFC shows. He had met Gaethje before, seeing him as polite and warm in their past talks. He makes parallels to his match with Michael Chandler, though he knows how it all changes once the cage door locks. Pimblett has shown real respect for Gaethje, noting his status as a fighter's fighter whose battles dependably bring entertainment. You will see that I am going to fight him. Thoughts from athletes and experts showed just how complex and unsure this battle really is. Some people view Gaethje's resume and proven skill in chaos to be unbeatable tools. Others note Pimblett's present drive and knack for finding shock paths to winning as reasons for care when counting him out. What is certain, though, is that on January 24th in Las Vegas, two fighters with all to gain and much at risk will step in the cage to settle who moves on as interim champ and who sees their title dreams for the time being fade.